Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The video I have for today is going to be something a little bit different. This is going to be a crime report that I'd like to start doing weekly, and the goal is just to report on the violent crimes, predominantly the shootings and homicides that occurred the week prior. My goal is to produce these videos and release them on Saturday mornings, so the statistics that are encompassed in this report be the things that happen from Friday to Friday. It'll get cut off probably around 9 p.m. on Friday night, and that's when I'll start recording so I can release the video on Saturday. The thing that inspired me to do this is the tremendous rise in violent crime in the city of Columbus, predominantly homicides and shootings. There was a tweet put out by one of the deputy chiefs on, I believe it was March the 1st. In that tweet, he detailed the homicides and felonious assaults and robberies year to date. You should be able to see them on the screen now. As you can see, those numbers are significantly higher than they were at this point in 2020. With that, I'm going to start with the shooting investigations, and then I'll move on to the homicides. On February the 27th, at approximately 10:15 p.m., victims were driving westbound on 670 near Neal Avenue when they observed two vehicles, a silver Dodge Charger and a dark-colored SUV. They passed them at an extremely high rate of speed. Soon after, they heard 4 or 5 gunshots, with one bullet entering the vehicle through the front windshield. Nobody in the vehicle was struck. On February the 28th, at 10:46 p.m., Mr. Joseph Colburn dialed 911 to report that while sitting outside his vehicle, he witnessed a heavy-set male drive past in a white Cadillac Escalade and fire 5 shots, striking the house and vehicles parked in front of the house. Mr. Colburn's vehicle was struck 2 times. On Wednesday, March the 3rd, 2021, at 4:58 a.m., officers were dispatched to 739 Wiltshire Road on the report of a shooting. Upon arrival, officers located the juvenile victim inside the residence with a gunshot wound to his right foot. The victim was transported to Nationwide Children's Hospital in stable condition. The victim in this case was 12 years old. On March 3rd, 2021, at 7:28 a.m., Columbus Police Patrol officers were dispatched to 1641 Ringfield Drive on the report of a shooting. Upon the officers' arrival, they located the victim, Jimmy Crabtree, suffering from a gunshot wound to his left shoulder. Mr. Crabtree stated he was working on a vehicle for the suspect, whom he only knew by a nickname. Mr. Crabtree stated the suspect was angry about the fact that work on the vehicle was not complete. Mr. Crabtree stated the suspect produced a handgun, struck him in the left side of his head with the handgun, and then shot him 1 time in the left shoulder. Mr. Crabtree added the suspect fled the scene after the shooting. Mr. Crabtree was transported to a local hospital in stable condition. On March 3rd, 2021, at 11:38 p.m., officers responded to 84 Oral Avenue on the report of a shooting. Upon arrival, officers found the victim lying in the street with multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was transported to Grant in stable condition and is expected to survive his injuries. The victim was dropped off in front of the address as it was approaching the residence as an unknown individual approached him, fired multiple gunshots, striking him several times. The suspect then ran down the street and got into a vehicle that was waiting for him. Now on to the homicide investigations. On February the 25th, 2021, at 5:24 p.m., Columbus police officers were called to the intersection of South 8th Street and Stanford Plaza on the report of a shooting. On arrival, officers found 26-year-old Kimberly Markham suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. Columbus Fire Medic 14 transported Markham to Grant Medical Center in critical condition, where she was pronounced deceased at 8:26 p.m. The investigation revealed that Markham was shot by an unidentified male who fired several shots, fatally wounding her. After the shooting, the male fled the scene on foot. This was the city's 32nd homicide of 2021. On Sunday, February 28, 2021, at approximately 5:56 p.m., Columbus police officers were called to the area of 11th Avenue near 71 on the report of a shooting. Upon arrivals, officers found a 19-year-old male victim suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. Columbus Fire Medic 13 transported the victim to OSU Medical in critical condition, where he was pronounced deceased by the attending physician at 7:04. The investigation revealed that the victim was in a vehicle with several other individuals. Someone in the vehicle produced a handgun. Several shots were fired and a struggle ensued. During the struggle, the handgun discharged again, fatally wounding the victim. The victim got out of the vehicle on 11th Avenue near 71, where he collapsed. The vehicle the victim was traveling in then fled the scene. The victim was subsequently aided by a passerby who called for help. The victim's identity at this time is being withheld pending notification of next of kin. This is the city's 33rd homicide of 2021. On March the 3rd, 2021, patrol officers responded to 199 North Oakley Avenue on the call of a shooting. Upon arrival, they located the victim, Mr. Ronald Lamar Jones, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds and unresponsive. Columbus Fire Medic 17 pronounced the victim deceased at the scene at 10:58 p.m. Witnesses at the scene identified the suspect as Mr. Dwight Turner Jr. as the shooter. Mr. Turner fled the scene after the shooting and at that moment was still at large. The motive for this incident is still unknown. Mr. Turner was arrested for homicide on March the 4th, 2021. March the 5th, 2021, at 11:37 p.m., patrol officers responded to 2330 Ridgeway Avenue on a shooting. Upon arrival, officers located the victim, Michael D. Keaton, inside the residence suffering from a gunshot wound and was unresponsive. The victim was pronounced by Columbus Fire Medic 20 at 11:46 p.m. Investigators are still trying to determine what led to the victim being shot. This was the city's 36th homicide of 2021.